What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com. I'm joined with Coach Jimmy and Coach Mark. And today's going to be a fun one because we're literally going to be mixing the mindset and obviously the fat loss into one inclusive video that hopefully just gives you guys some inspiration. It's going to be nice because we're going to be basically interviewing Coach Jimmy at the very end, and he's going to be talking all about mixing the mindset and his transition that has led to him losing over 130 pounds. If you guys are tuning in for the first time and watching this on YouTube, awesome. Welcome. Make sure to press that little subscribe button so that way you never miss another future video to come. We're constantly posting new podcasts, new videos, just to once again provide value and inform you guys. Now, today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the mindset and the fat loss. We're going to be going back and forth, me and Coach Mark talking about belief and faith, the difference. We're going to be going about, goal setting and, how to not to prioritize things too much and put them up on a pedestal, but then mostly getting that deep rooted why. And like I said, we'll bring it to Jimmy at the very end. So Mark, let's kind of basically go back and forth here and make it fun. Let's first talk about, belief and faith. With me, right. You got to trust the process. I always say that to clients. We say that to clients all the time, right? You got to believe it's going to work, but most importantly, what we've been kind of figuring out, because we like mixing the mindset. And even though we're coaches, we're still always students of the game, right? We're still learning about the mindset. We're still learning about how the body works to ensure our clients get, great results, but also to help out everybody and, anybody that's listening on the podcast. And let's talk about what we kind of learned about belief being more of that outer knowing versus faith, which is that inner knowing. Why don't you kind of share some details on that?
Yeah, it's like you said, belief comes from an extrinsic source, from something outside yourself. Basically, you're being presented with evidence externally, and you're taking that evidence and saying, okay, now I believe this. Faith, on the other hand, is an internal process. Faith is really you saying, like, this is my inner judgment. I internally have, an intrinsic internal feeling that this is going to come to pass. And so it's really kind of a guiding vision as opposed to belief being basically, external based on being presented with something. Faith is you saying, like, this is my guiding path. And faith really starts with, like a vivid, belief in something, not a belief, a vivid, intrinsic goal that you picture. And, with faith, you kind of have like no judgment. It's not like you saying, this is crazy or this is out there or this is, it's just, your heart leading you and saying, this is what I have faith in.
Yeah, I think it's like the deep rooted internal confidence there is, right? When somebody wakes up, they don't have to instantly go like, oh, I got to breathe. I got to breathe. I got to breathe. Right. Like they know like, hey, how to breathe. Right. It's in their subconscious and they know, okay, there's air, there's oxygen out there. Right. They know how to breathe. Right. It's just like, for a fact, right. It's that faith. It's just like, even when your feet hit the floor, like you understand, okay, the floor is not just going to break through and there's going to be, a big hole in the ground, whatever. It's faith, right? You don't need to worry about stepping your feet outside the bed or whatever the case may be, Now belief is like what we kind of heard about, which was a little bit different. That actually shocked me. And, the video that me, Coach Mark kind of watched was basically, the guy said that, having belief is almost just like confidence without reassurance, so to speak. It's just like if somebody tells you something, hey, the sky is blue, but you never actually went outside before, you lived underneath the basement, right? It's just like you're just going off of that, what somebody has told you. Okay, hey, that's true to believe that, as opposed to you actually walking outside and seeing that the sky is blue, there's more faith when it comes to that. So when it comes down to achieving your fat loss goals, we used to always say, hey, trust the process, right? Believe it's going to happen. And yes, there's certainty, especially if you can find it in other people that have had similar success. It's belief that they had success where you internally can figure that out for yourself as well and see that it's possible. But most importantly, have faith, right? And faith is almost just like, you don't know the next step, but for a fact you're going to be safe in that process. And sometimes we need to have more faith when it comes to stepping outside our comfort zone, which we're going to talk about next, Mark, which is goal setting, And so when it comes down to goal setting, most people put way too much importance and putting their goals on a pedestal. Hey, I have to lose X amount of weight and I have to look like this. And they're almost obsessed with it, which is not a bad thing. But when they put too much of a priority on it, it's almost just like they have that imbalance. Mark, why don't we kind of talk a little bit more about that now?
Yeah, the like you said, if you impose too much importance on something, basically the universe out there, right, is saying like, hey, this is out of balance. You're giving something much more importance than everything else. What do we do to balance this out? And sometimes the universe says, I'm going to take whatever that is you're trying to get away so that it's no longer out of balance. So by putting things up on such a high pedestal, you're actually, you may think internally that you're prioritizing this and you're putting yourself in the path towards that, but you're not really. You need to set that goal, right? It's important to have a goal, but then what you should be prioritizing are the steps, right? The processes that get you to that goal, as opposed to that end result, right? Once you've set that goal, set it aside. You've got it, right? You don't need to dwell on it every day. You don't need to look for evidence of moving towards it every day. You just need to work on the steps that bring you there. Because otherwise, you tend to do what's called self-sabotage, right? You're so focused on that goal, and maybe even though you are moving towards it, you're so focused on it that you're not seeing all the evidence of progress, especially like in to relate it to fat loss more specifically, right? We talk about how there's so much other data to look at than just the scale number.
Yeah.
The way you feel, the way your clothes fit, your energy, etc. But when you're so focused on that scale number, it throws things out of balance. Then you get frustrated and then you go on a binge, right? So you're self-sabotaging. So that's why it's more important to deal with those individual steps, the granular processes, as opposed to you're putting that end goal up on that pedestal.
Yeah, perfectly said. And to just go off of what you just said about the fat loss. So we always educate our members, right? Hey, here's how your body type, right, is burning body fats. It's different for everybody. Some people might lose weight, hit a little plateau, lose weight, hit a little plateau. Other people might lose weight, gain some weight, lose weight, gain some weight, lose some weight, right? Other people might, lose some weight, hit a plateau, gain some weight, lose some weight. It's all different for everybody. And what you said about self-sabotage, I think this is where guys typically shoot themselves in the foot the most. Brian Malcolm mentioned actually on the Before and After Heartletics, podcast that we recently recorded. He said something beautiful, which was, hey, the reason why I love Heartletics so much is because you guys taught me. And he mentioned that, he noticed that he would lose a bunch of weight, hit a little plateau for just a few short weeks, and then lose some more weight, hit a little plateau. Well, most guys, if they don't understand that about their body type, they might jump the gun as soon as they see that they hit this little plateau and they don't understand that fat loss isn't linear. They might do something like cut out their carbs, intermittent fasting, tons and tons of cardio, something to kind of like get them through that sticking point, when in reality, they just needed patience because they just needed to learn how their body type basically burns body fats. And to help anybody out, that if you have a goal, right, that's way too high on a pedestal, and I'm one to fall for this always, because like with me having the business, right, like being the CEO, I put those goals on a pedestal. And like today, watching this video that me and Mark watched, it was a remembrance to me of just like, okay, hey, it's great to have those goals, but at the same time, let's just lower the importance. And sometimes it's best to lower the importance by going back to what we shared in the beginning, which is having faith, trusting that it's all going to work out. Because now, hey, you just realize here, you're just kind of going through the daily habits that we're going to talk about, right? And knowing for a fact that it's going to happen if and or but. And that's what's having that faith on. So lastly, let's go to kind of like, that deep rooted why. And then we'll bring Jimmy on here. We'll kind of talk about how this has helped him with his transformation. And so, Mark, when it comes down to having that vision of that goal, right? We talk obviously about some, the deep rooted why, the 7-layer, and then the goal setting. Well, remember in the video, we kind of talked about, what do you want? But then most importantly, why do you want it? And then lastly, who do you need to become? Mark, why do you feel like asking yourself these questions when it comes to goal setting are important?
I think one of the things that people tend to do when they don't dig into those questions is, instead of, focusing on what they want to be, who they want to be, right? These deep questions, they focus on what they don't want.
Mm.
And, that's sort of a negative connotation that's not going to put you in the right frame of mind and in the right direction to achieve your goals. So I think that's part of the reason that you really need to dig into, who it is that you want to be and why you want to be that person. So that you're not saying, well, I don't want to be this. Don't want to be is not helpful. What do you want to be? Who is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to achieve? And then once you kind of dig into that and, uncover that about yourself, spend some time being that person mentally, meaning, as vividly as possible, envision the life of that person, because you'd be surprised at the power of that, how much it helps. And I don't mean this in like a magical way. Like, you still need to put the work in. Things
Yeah.
don't just happen by themselves. But by preparing your mind mentally and focusing on that, you're helping pave that path for yourself to bring those things to fruition.
Yeah. And no, it's not like in a magical sense at all. It's actually very realistic, right? If somebody out there had six pack abs, you'd be like, okay, so who do I need to become to have six pack abs like this guy? And maybe that guy is, eating their protein, right? Getting plenty of sleep, doing some resistance training. And it's like, okay, why don't I start doing those things also? You know? So let's have some fun with this. Let's really combine, the mindset and the fat loss into a little interview with Coach Jimmy. So, Coach Jimmy, I want you to think way back in the past, man, before you went through your Heartletics transformation and lost over 130 pounds, right? I want you to think about, and I know it's probably going to be hard to believe this, but do you remember the mindset that you had before? And maybe you could kind of share with everybody, like it took a while for you to even schedule a call. I basically had to kind of call you out on it. We got into a little verbal debates, a little heated argument, but that led you to saying, hey, I'm going to prove this guy wrong. I'm going to take action. So let's first talk about, belief versus faith, give the rundown about what me and Mark just kind of talked about. When you first got signed up, or I guess what led you to get signed up for coaching, there had to be something deep down inside of you that said, hey, I can do this, whether it was a belief or whether it was faith, or maybe it was belief at first, but then when you got started in the coaching program, there was more faith because you got to see how it all worked. I guess, walk us through that process.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with my weight for years. I mean, I've always been a bigger guy, and I tried so many different things to lose weight. Everybody knows the keto, intermittent fasting, low carb, all that stuff. And when I started them, I believed that you know I could lose the weight, that it would work. But in the end, it would just be another failure. So at some point, you start to believe that maybe I'm just meant to be this guy. This is just who I am. I don't think I can do lose weight. I don't think. I mean, do I think it's possible? Yeah, because I see it done, but I don't. Maybe I just can't do it. And I think something clicked when I first saw your ad. Something about it, seeing the guys' transformations just hit home with me. And I believed again. I'm like, there's something here. Um, but then again, I still had the self-limiting belief of, yeah, but can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. Can I afford this? This is for other people. It's not for me. So that's where my mind was back and forth. Yeah, but and then I signed up for a call a few times and canceled, um, as you know, and then texting back and forth with you. I mean, you can read the text. We have them somewhere. You asking me questions and me telling you, I'm 430 pounds and all my situation. And that you're like, yeah, man, you need help. We can do this, do that. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't afford something like this. And you know what you said. You said you can be, you can be, was it fat, lazy, and broke, or you can be healthy and broke, something to that effect. And it pissed me off, man. It woke something up in me, and from that point, I was determined to join the program, find a way to do it. I did. Um, and at that moment, when I signed up for the program, I truly believed that it was going to make a change in my life.
Yeah.
Now, the point where I had faith, I don't know if you remember this, but I guess it was probably, it was a halfway, maybe a little halfway through. I had a call with you, and I said, "Yeah, coach, I don't, I don't know. Am I doing good? Am I making progress? Because I'm looking in the mirror and I just don't see anything. And you're looking at me like I'm crazy.
I do remember this. Go ahead, continue. I
Yeah,
remember this.
yeah. You're looking at me like, well, let me pull your pictures up. And you pull my pictures up, and you're like, Jimmy, look at this. And I'm looking. I'm like, holy crap! Like, look, I couldn't believe like the difference. And I'm like, yeah, I did. For some reason, your mind plays tricks with you. You have those self-limiting beliefs, but seeing that, I was like, holy crap! And then you were like, not only that, Jimmy, but you're not even through your 12-week transformation program. I think I was like 8 weeks in. You're like, you lost more weight than anyone ever has in 12 weeks already.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think you're freaking crushing it, man. You need to knock that crap out and off. And from that point forward, I had the faith that I was going to go, and it was full steam ahead from there. I lost 75 pounds in 12 weeks, and down 130 now. So
And I love how you put that, man. And that kind of goes against like with what Mark was telling about just like the importance of not just looking at the number on a scale, but also like the progress photos and different things like that to see all counts into, progression. Let's go into this because I remember also on our most recent check-in, right? I kind of mentioned about the analogy about the pedestal, right? Let's go into that next, right? So everybody has goals out there. Obviously, you did also, right? And you still do, right?
yeah,
And so, what would you say has helped you out with Herletics the most when it comes to having that faith, trusting the process, but at the same time, not putting that goal up on a pedestal too much because, hey, there could be times where we get, very discouraged.
listen, whenever anybody's, especially losing weight, you have a number in mind of what you want to weigh. And I think I always have, like, I want to be down to 250 pounds, 250 pounds. So you start dieting or exercise or doing whatever it is you're doing, and it's not happening fast enough. You can't get, because all you're thinking is 250 pounds, 250 pounds, six pack abs, fit in my 30 whatever jeans. You're thinking of that, and it's not happening fast enough. You're not, so you give up, you quit. You think you can't do it, which is exactly what would happen with me. But now it's more of, yeah, my goal is to get to 250 pounds. I have tons of goals, but I know that if I just follow, you know, my follow the process, I have these habits now, I will eventually get there. I'm not obsessing on I need to be 250 pounds by this date or this, but I'm living my life a certain way. Eventually, I'll get to where I want to be, and I'm just day by day, living my life with these new healthy habits, and that's what I'm focusing on, focusing day to day. Short, more attainable goals, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean. It, let me this week, let me hit all my nutrition goals. Focusing on little things like that. Let me hit 10,000 steps this week 5 times or every day. Little battles within yourself each week, and you're just focusing on being better every day. And then at some point, you're going to be exactly where you wanted to be from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And this kind of led me to the last questions that I have for you, which is the vision, right? So like obviously, why don't we break down, right? Like your why. I guess like I'll break it down to you like the three questions that we want all the people listening in to ask themselves this when it comes to goal setting. And that is, what do you want? Why do you want it? And who do you have to become So like, I guess I want to ask you the same questions, think back when you were first getting signed up, what did you want? And then why did you want it? And then who did you have to become in order to get the results that you got?
Well, yeah, when I first started, I wanted to be, be healthier. I wanted to look better. I wanted to be a better example for my kids. I wanted my kids to look at me and be proud of me. For things I could do, being more active with them, being more involved in their life. And not only that, I wanted, other people, surrounding people, to look at me and say, "Man, look at this guy. Look what he accomplished." And take me serious.
Yeah.
And that's that was my why. That was my reason why.
Yeah. And so like during that process, you kind of mentioned a little bit about like the habits, right? But who did you have to become in order to get the results that you got?
I had to become somebody that, like I said, not, wanting the big picture. Yeah, you want that end goal. And instead of just focusing on that, focusing on just being better all the way around, being better, with my nutrition, being better with my workouts, having these habits of drinking water, 10,000 steps, then the mindset stuff being, that's a big thing for me that I didn't even consider before joining Heartletics was the mindset, and how important that is to, achieving what you want to do. And I think from that original goal of wanting to be losing all the weight, 250 pounds, yeah, I still want to. I'm not there yet. I still want to get there. But I think the most important transformation that I made was in my mind and the person I am now. Um, and I'm still working on the person, that I want to be. Um, there's purpose, there's drive and passion now.
I love that. I love that. So, guys, to recap today's episode, right? Put it down to like 3 bullet points, right? Belief versus faith. Two, putting your goals up on a pedestal and almost putting like an X to that. And if you need help with that, just lowering the importance of the goals, right? And I think just having that faith, not belief, but having that faith that you're going to reach your goals is going to help you, lower it off that pedestal. And then lastly, the vision. You kind of heard from Coach Jimmy about like, his reason why he wanted to, get in better shape. It wasn't just to lose weight, but it was to lead better by example. It was to inspire others. It was to teach his kids, his family, healthier habits. And you also learned about who he had to become. And, he not only just mentioned about some of the habits like the steps, the protein, the nutrition, right? The training, different things like that, the water, but also about the mindset, which is something that we focus on so much at Heartletics, because if you change who you are internally, you will change who you are externally as well. So hopefully you guys got some value from today's episode. I know I definitely did, just from listening from Coach Mark and then also Coach Jimmy as well, because, hey, let's face it, we all have goals out there, but sometimes we need to understand that, having that faith to reach our goals, that's going to give you all that reassurance. That's going to be that, ultimate form of confidence, so to speak. And just take it a note that if you guys have goals out there that you're looking to achieve, and especially if it's anything with health, fitness, or just having a new mindset, here at Heartletics, we would love to be able to help you out. You can find more information over at heartletics.com or just send any one of us a message. We'd love to be able to just have a quick conversation with you. With that being said, this has been Coach Joe, Coach Jimmy, and Coach Mark with the Heartletics podcast. We'll talk to you guys all next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.